Hey everyone, welcome to the Triangle Hustle podcast, where life, hustle, and construction collide in the heart of California. I'm Lila, your PPE and safety expert.
I'm Rocio, saving you money with insurance and workers' comp.
And I'm Frank, for all your trash and disposal needs. Whether you're swinging hammers or closing deals, this show is built for those who want to level up in business and in life.
From the job site to the boardroom, we're bringing you real talk, real challenges, and our favorite real wins.
Thanks for joining us. All right, let's go. So it's episode 10, guys.
Yay!
Wait. We're also in unison.
Yes.
In unison.
Oh, well,
episode 10.
I saw it. I was like,
Yeah. And what a way to kick it off.
Yeah.
Episode 10.
Very, very special guest.
Extremely special guest.
thank you.
We're very,
A hot
we're
one,
very
too.
excited.
Yeah. I'm not going to say hot because I know her husband.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not bigger than me, but I could take him. But I still don't want to say anything.
is that right? I like to see that. I mean, you know what girl doesn't get flattered seeing two guys fight over her?
Well, Krystal's always been hot, but I know she recently just had an amazing weight loss, and
thank
you look
you, yeah.
amazing, Krystal.
I appreciate
So continue
that.
it.
Yeah.
I want to have an amazing weight loss.
Hang out with Krystal and Marisol. They seem to have the secret potion.
Okay.
Yeah. Us regular people have to get up in the morning and work out and shit.
My girl Marisol will hook you up.
Yeah.
Hey, beauty costs.
It
Gotta
does.
say.
It's expensive.
It is.
Hanging out with Marisol,
Thousands.
Rocio,
Thousands.
Krystal, all you guys, you know, what you guys go through on the daily with the vampire face, whatever, and just like that's insanely. Like I don't even want to know the actual cost, but I've been fortunate to get like some facial treatments through Rocio and Marisol. And,
Okay.
they don't seem to
My
be working.
turn. My turn. Right? Rocio. Okay, don't forget about me. Hanging around with Rocio and Krystal and Marisol, who are in their 30s, how do you think I feel? I
no,
feel like I
just
need
wait.
like shots and
Do the
toda la
vampire thing.
cosa.
They extract blood and like, what do they do, Rocio?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do extract it. Well, I don't want to call out Marisol because of her age. I'm saying like her age because she looks so good that people don't believe her when she says she's 45.
She's not 45. She's
straight up about it.
37.
Right? That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, she looks
40.
great. She
Yeah,
takes
she looks
really good care.
fantastic. Yeah.
I'm in for the secrets, Marisol. I'm gonna call you later.
But let's go back to the special guest.
Oh.
Yes.
Welcome to episode 10. So we saved the best for the best episode here because I have a good feeling about this one. The energy in this room is through the roof. It's through the roof.
Is it?
I can feel it.
Thank you for having me. I really do appreciate the invitation.
No, thank you for joining us. So let's get right into it, right?
Yeah.
We're going to
So
get into
who
it.
is Krystal Guzman?
Well, Krystal Guzman is a young lady from, I come from a Mexican background. Both parents came from Mexico. Ended up in LA. I grew up, I was born here, but I grew up in Mexicali. So I went to school out in Mexicali up to like, 6th grade. Then I came back and ended up in South LA. So I grew up right around Vernon and Central. When I was out there, I just, you grew up, with street smarts, in other words, So then, and now I'm here, it's like, it's been an amazing road to get to the point where I'm at today. So
Well, where are you at? 'Cause this is for the audience that might not know you.
No, okay.
So where is it? That you're at?
I am a mother of, I'm going to say 5. I do have 3 biological children and then 2 that I took in. Currently married, happily married with an amazing partner. It didn't always start off that way. I was a single mother for quite some time, and then I met my partner, and like you said, Mark. And then now I'm here. I'm working in the construction industry, which is it happened by chance. Like it wasn't even like intentional, right? Because I didn't know where the hell I was gonna end up. It was just like, all right, well, let me give this a shot. And here I am now, being a project manager.
So give us some details. How did that happen?
What age?
Yeah, like
So
What did you
tell us
get
that story.
all right. Well, I'm gonna start off from high school.
Okay.
So when I was in high school, really, books weren't my thing. I wasn't really like interested in studying or like going into college. Not so much because I didn't want to. It's just like I didn't have that guidance. I think for like a lot of us that grew up with parents that immigrated over here, for them the importance was just to get through high school, get your high school diploma, right? Because they didn't even get to go through elementary. So I didn't get through high school. I ended up dropping out. And then I thought, I'm going to get married, right? Because that's kind of what I was brought up.
At what age did you drop out?
18, when I was a senior. Yeah, I was going to a continuation school, and then, things just didn't quite work out. So when I turned 18, they were like, yeah, sayonara, go to adult school. It was different because now it was like a commitment of that had to come out of me, right? For me to drive myself to adult school, for me to make sure that I was, keeping up with the studies and all that. Well, I wasn't there. I was 18. I was like, well, whatever. Let me find myself a husband, right? Because, like I said, growing up in Mexicali, what I saw was girls were being raised to be wives, to be homemakers, to be mothers.
At a young age, too.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, it's like I'm ready, right? Like, where's my Prince Charming? And then I ended up meeting, this one individual, and I had kids at a young age. Obviously, things didn't work out. They weren't great. I was too young to see the red flags. That's what it was, right? I was just like,
Like
all right.
many of us.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like I grew up with an amazing father who was always there, who always was very dedicated, raised 3 kids, bought 2 homes. So I thought all men were like that, right? I just thought, I find me a partner, I'm going to end up like that too. But it didn't work out that way. And luckily, because of my father, always being there and saying, you don't got to put up with this shit. Like, you're from here, you don't.
Shout out to your dad.
Yeah, amazing. I wouldn't be, I got to say that he's probably one of my main reasons why I am where I am today. I mean, there's a lot of people that contribute to that. But it was my dad who was like, fuck it. Like, you don't.
Right.
Don't be ashamed. Don't be worried. You don't need to put up with that shit. Come back home and, we'll figure it out. When my son was 2 years old, my oldest brother, who was 29 at the time, passed away. And it was just like a sudden death. It happened. It definitely affected the family. Right after his passing, I kind of went a route of destruction, right? Because I didn't know how to deal with the emotions. It kind of tore the family apart. And while I was dealing with my emotions, I was a lot of partying, a lot of drinking, right? And then one day, turns out, I'm pregnant. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right, I got to figure this one out. Obviously, at that time, I still didn't have it together. I was just like, what am I going to do? But because of my little girl, my princess, I said, yep, Krystal, got to sit down and really think about what you want to do. So when Victoria was a year old, I started looking for work. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I had worked as like an administrative assistant for a law firm and had done some clerical work, right? So I go to a job fair, and they had a posting for a part-time job working at a construction company at a job site, right? So here I go. I'm a big believer of fake it till you make it. But when I say that, I don't mean just fake it and don't ever learn your shit. I mean, kind of get a little bit up on game on what you're going to talk about. And then once you get your foot in the door, hit the books, start asking everyone around, well, wait, what exactly do I need to do, right? And learn your shit so you can get to the next level. And then you're no longer faking it, right? So I remember, I go up to this one individual, and I'm like, hey, I know what I'm doing, right? I know computers, I know Excel, let me go ahead and interview. So yeah, they set me up for an interview. I went in, and I didn't get the job. Some other I'm gonna say lady, because at that time I was in my young 20s, right? And this person was a little bit older than I was. She ends up not showing up on the first day of work. So 2 weeks after that, I get a call from one of the managers that interviewed me. And she's like, and I'll put her name out there because she was also one of the ones that contribute to where I am today. Her name is Sandra Arroyo. She still actually works at that company.
Amazing.
So it was an HR individual and Sandra who would oversee all the administrative assistant, young ladies that worked in the company. the HR manager, for some reason, wasn't really feeling me, right? And that's fine. You're not always going to be everyone's cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
But so Sandra was like, no, I like her. I think she would be the one. But again, they chose the other individual. That person didn't show up. So then Sandra calls me 2 weeks after and is like, are you ready to work? And I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm ready, right? Mm-hmm. And I go into the office, to the main office, which is obviously, this beautiful building, right? Everyone's all dressed up. And she's like, all right, well, you're going to have to wear boots to the job site, right? Again, I had never been at a construction site, so I had no clue
what kind of boots.
Yeah.
Cowboy boots?
No, well, since you say that, right? I remember the first day I showed up to work, I'm wearing, like the cute boots that you wear in the winter up to your knees?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wearing those, right, with jeans, like this cute shirt, and I walk into the, job site trailer, and I'm like, I'm ready. I'm ready to take this on, right? Yeah. And they're like all looking at me like, what the fuck is this girl wearing, right? But I was like, well, again, I didn't know, right? I'm just like, I'm just gonna
boots.
Yes, I'm wearing boots, right? So, I remember that night I ended up, because I'm, scoping everybody else out, see what they're wearing, and I end up going to like, what was it, like WWSS or whatever?
Oh, yeah, the warehouse.
Yeah, there you go. And I find some cheap, construction boots. Again, at that time, I didn't realize you got Red Wings, you got, all the fancy ones, right? I'm just like, I'm just going to get me whatever they got here. Yeah, I think I found like a pair for like $30, right? Yeah. And the next day I show up with my construction boots, bien chingona. But no, that's how I ended up in the industry. I started, I was there with that company for 2 years. My job was basically to get their supplies, make copies. So I was there in the filing cabinet, putting stuff away. If they wanted me to make their coffee, I was there, with the pot making their coffee. But the one thing was that I was always listening. They would have the foreman's meetings. So you have every individual representing their company, right? Electricians, plumbers, the drywall guy, the wood framer, all of those individuals just talking work. And then I realized, fuck, there's a method to this. Like, this shit's not just, show up and some nails, some concrete, some wood. There's sequencing to this, and someone has to put that plan together. And then, you get to see, like, the superintendents. And it's like, all right, well, we have this issue. We may not be able to continue that route, but what is plan B? Like, you always got to have a plan B. There's no fucking way that things stop just because, we got
somebody
this bump on the road.
About something, yeah.
Yeah, so just, from hearing them. And then anytime that they would go for, like, job walks, I'd be like, well, can I go with you guys? I got construction boots now. I'm not wearing my...
I want to use them. I want to go outside.
Dirty them, right? I want to dirty them. But, I would just, like, apply myself to that. Safety walks. It's like, all right. And a lot of times, again, did I know what the fuck I was talking about? No. But I was always like, well, what about that? Is that a safety concern? Or what do you think about this? So it just kind of, like, led to, like, asking, and then people passing on their knowledge. Because that was, like, the biggest thing is that, for the most part, people want to teach you.
Yeah.
But you want, you got to be receptive to that. They got to see it that that's what you want, right? Because nobody wants to waste their fucking energy.
And then let me ask you, when you first walked into that trailer, I'm saying this because there's maybe a lot of young women out there who might be thinking, hey, should I do construction? I don't even know what construction is. When you walked into that trailer, being that construction is controlled probably like by 90% of men, especially back in the day, there's probably less females. Did you feel intimidated or weird that...
Oh, man, yes. And the thing is that it wasn't just that it was only men. Mm-hmm. It was Caucasian men, right? Oh, yeah. And here I come. I had a really strong accent. To this day, once in a while, you'll still hear it, right? Again, even though I was born here, I was raised in Mexicali. I only spoke Spanish up to the age of like 12. So when I came here, right, my English wasn't the best. Writing skills weren't the best. Reading, right? So up to that point, I had worked at companies where it was mostly Latinos. So being able to speak English,
it's a whole different accent too. I could tell you that because I went from, same thing, like my first real job, I went from Santa Ana, it's all Mexicans, and then I went to Huntington Beach, right on the Beach Boulevard, all white, Newport kids, and I had a sling in my thing, and I just remember they'd look at me like English. What are you trying to pronounce? And I'll be like, oh, okay. And then I'd be like, they'd be looking at me like,
yeah. So when I walked into that trailer, it was like, what the fuck did I just get myself into, right? Yeah, but I needed the job, right? I have 2 kids. I wanted to be able to provide for them, right? So it's like, I mean, fuck it. You just got to do what you got to do, right? And I'm glad that I went for it because I had this misconception that people, you do come across the assholes, right, that correct you, and they're like, well, that's not the way you pronounce it or that. But for the most part, no one gives a fuck about your accent, right? What they care is if you're a hard worker, that commitment to that project, right?
You bring value to the project. Hell yeah.
So eventually I realized that they didn't give a fuck. And you know why I became an asset too? Because at that time, like I said, most individuals in the trailers only spoke English, but the individuals out in the field doing the work, who were they, right?
Yep, that's right.
All my raza, my tios, my my pops, my friends, right? So I was able to go out there, chop it up with them, and then come back and relay the information to the management team, right? So anytime they needed a translator, I probably didn't even translate correctly, right? But hey, we fucking got,
I'm willing to do it. I'll do it.
Yeah, it kept things moving, right? So it worked out. And then by the time that I was done with that project, because it was more of a contract type thing, right? Like I had been hired for that 2-year duration of that one project. I mean, I evolved into something different. I realized that I didn't have to limit myself to being just like what I was used to, right? In my hood, my people. Right. I could go out there and actually have these conversations with other individuals, and that they weren't going to think any less of me because of my pronunciation or because of my background. By the end of it, the project manager that was there, I remember, wrote me a really nice card, right? And he put someone there like, Krystal, continue being who you are, stay true to yourself. And I mean, this is a white man who was educated. It meant a lot to me to think that someone like him
could see the potential.
Yeah, and then
and had a kind heart to do that.
Yourself.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
to make sure you see the potential.
Right. So it's like, I mean, as I think as we continue, you guys will get to see more of who Krystal is, right?
Yeah.
I like to joke. I like to
Have you always been like that?
Yeah, man. I think life is, we only have this one life. Might as well live it by laughing and enjoying it and cracking jokes. And
I think from the minute we met, it was with Marisol first, but from the minute we met, it was just like we'd known each other for all of our lives.
Yeah.
And we just picked up like we were best friends and talking shit and going back and forth. The business was the business, and that kind of took care of itself.
Right.
But it was straight into friendship, and in a couple of weeks you were at my house, and we were breaking bread, and we were having Thai food and doing all these things, and it was like 90% friendship, realism, and then the business just kind of, like I said, took care of itself.
I mean, obviously, when you're in a meeting, right, a business meeting, you gotta
take
care of
read
business.
The room. That's right.
But ultimately, I think in this industry too, it's like it is important to have those friendships, people that you could trust, right? And that they know who you are and you know who they are. Because I mean, if there's someone that wants to do business or that I'm working with, and I never really get to see their true colors, that kind of worries me, right? Because it's like, well, what is it? Not to say that they're hiding something, but it's like I just don't feel this connection. Who are you always gonna want to do a favor for? Someone that you enjoy working with, that I could call, hey, what's up, man? How's it going? Well, can you look out for me this time? I'm gonna look out for you next time. Or someone that's always like very standoffish, or So
and I think once you found out that Marisol and I were raised in Compton, you were like, oh hell yeah,
dude,
that's right, yeah.
So this all started, this beautiful triangle, right, of Marisol, Francisco, and Krystal started because Marisol showed up to my job site with a fucking box of donuts, right? But, something that was really impressive was that she had gone to the CM trailer, the construction manager's trailer, and she asked, she's like, who's piece of shit dumpster that's out there, who's renting that? And they're like, oh, yeah, it's Krystal with Kaya. So she's like, well, where is she? And they're like, she's in the other trailer, right? Whatever. So she walks in and she's like, hey, girl, what's up? What's up, Krystal? And I'm like, what the fuck? Do I know her? Right? Yeah. When you're like, yo, I'm working. And I'm like, okay. I'm like,
I would have remembered her.
Yes, exactly, right? But then again, I'm like, she was so like confident, like if she knew me, right? So I was like, I'm good, And she's like, oh, I'm Marisol. I'm with Arrow. She's like, what kind of deals is this other company giving you, right? And I'm thinking, here comes another vendor, right? Like, you get this shit all the time. People trying to like, oh, here's a box of donuts. And you're like, yeah, I'm good. Whoever the fuck I'm dealing with with the other company, I mean, they've, not to say that they ever went to the level where Francisco and Marisol have ever gone. Never. I never even met the vendor that I was dealing with. But we were just used to using that service, right? So Marisol's like, I'll give you better rates. Give me your email. And she was relentless. She kept fucking calling me after. She's like, what's up, girl? You're going to hook me up? Oh, and this is what stuck with me, right? that when she was there, she's like, "What's up, girl? Hook me up." And I was like, "Oh, she's speaking my language." I was like, "Oh, who's this highlight right here?" I was like, "All right." But,
let's go, Marisol.
Yeah, seriously. So then I called. It's funny because I called my boss Armando, right? And I was like, "Hey, Armando, some chick showed up over here. You know, she talking about she got better rates." And he's like, you know, I don't know. Because sometimes it's like just to even go through the trouble.
It's
to
time.
switch
Right, it is.
It's time.
Right?
It's a little paperwork. Can you set up this vendor?
Yeah, right.
So
is it worth it to go that route? But you see, Marisol didn't give up. She called me an hour after and said, "I just sent you the rates." And I was like, "Okay, cool, whatever." She calls me the next morning and tells me, "So what's up? Did you talk to your boss? What do they think? I got better rates, right?" And I was like, "Holy shit, this girl's not gonna let me go, right? Like she's gonna keep." And I was like, yeah, we'll see. Well, she called me later on that day, right? And she's like, "So what's going on? It's really easy." She's like, "Trust me, just send your invoice, you know, your purchasing department the information. You don't have to do anything." And I was like, all right, you know, it just so happens that my contract with that other vendor was coming to an end. And I said, fuck it, I'm going to give her a shot. So she shows up like 2 days after, right? And she's like, "Come on, let's go to lunch." And I'm like, okay, you know? And she's like, "I want you to meet my manager," right? And she calls me on the three-way with Francisco. And Francisco's like, "Hey, you guys are moving on too quick, right? Like, I hear that all these sparks between you guys, right?" And I
who said you're moving on too quick?
This guy.
Yeah, their relationship was moving really fast.
Because within the week, we were already like kicking it, just joking, right? Like she kind of mentioned, you know, "Oh yeah, I grew up in Compton." I was like, "Did you? I grew up in South Central. Whereabouts?" So I had my best friend was from Compton. So it's like I knew that neighborhood, right? So it was just like, all right, this is the type of female that I want on my team, right? I don't come across that often. Funny enough, I don't. I mean, you come across people that have come from hardship, but that don't come from a hood background, right? Because if you think about it, the statistics for a young Mexican Latina to come out of that shit, and then like for me, the way I look at it is like I was a single mom. I was like the perfect fucking example of what everybody thinks a girl in the hood is like, right? Oh, the baby mama, she ain't got nothing going on for herself. Yeah. And then you end up hustling to get to something, and then you see another individual that you know that she understands that. It's like, fuck connection. Yeah, this is my that's my team. So he's like, "You guys are moving on too quick," and I was like, "Frank, if the feeling is right, then let it be," right? And then like fuck, the next day we were at lunch, and it was a great.
Well, I grew up in Compton too.
Yeah, I was like, "Damn, well, this is meant to be," right? Yeah. So that's how we ended up here. Yeah, it's been great,
and it's been such an honor to every time we sit down to watch her, right? She's got her own little team, Lashes, Cecilia, and your other little girl over there. The way she leads by example, the way you could tell these younger girls are learning so much from her. And I look at it and just for because I've trained a lot of women in my tenure. And I've always had a soft spot, you know, not just because I'm a man or whatever, but there are good people out there. And it is so hard. A lot of my reps, not just Marisol, but a lot of the reps that I've trained, to watch them go into the field, and you get a lot of shit. I remember one time I was with one of my reps, Maria, and I was a few steps behind her, and we were turning a corner, and one of the superintendents was, "Oh, that's my baby. I could smell you from over here." And then I turned the corner and I was like, "Oh, thanks. Thanks, homie. I am wearing something a little different." His face when he saw me was like, "Oh, fuck. I'm not going to be able to flirt now." But that's what a lot of women get.
Between flirting and catcalling.
Well, it was a little bit of both. And the reason I went that day was because they had interactions before that, and she felt completely uncomfortable. And a lot of the times when I go, it's not to micromanage. It's because they say, "I don't feel comfortable with this particular individual." So then we show up. But watching her team, watching the way that her and Marisol have worked to even network and to branch out, because now it's not just providing bins, it's providing other things. Have your friends be my friends, and we could all be friends. It's gotten to that level. And on the back end, we've been there for each other. We talk about life in general and what's going on with me, with her, our struggles. And it's just so great to have that with a client, because it's not a client, it's a friend.
Yeah.
And you know, being from the hood, like you said, coming from a hard start, yet being still a beautiful Latina woman, you know, and when you come and you're going to network and you're going to go, you know, do some business, that street smart, that hood is what gives you the confidence to say, hey, what's up? Let's do some business, especially if you have the confidence to know that you got the rates, you bring value. And I just love that it's proof that when you come in like that, because there's a lot of us Latinos in construction. There's not enough women, but you know what I mean? It's the magic. Yeah. Right? Yeah. To somebody like Krystal who's busy. Project managers are busy, but I just love the story because I know Marisol and she's like, what's up, girl? Let's, and the numbers are right. So, there's no reason not to. And especially you're from Compton. I'm from Compton. You're from Compton.
Going back to that.
It's like it's meant to be, like we met for a reason. Yeah. But I did want to ask you because like you said, growing up at first, it's mainly Caucasian men, right? So was there ever a time where like you walk into whatever, how sometimes they have pre-meetings and all that, somebody come and tell you something like, oh, honey, are you here to take the notes or whatever? And you'll be like, no, motherfucker, I'm running the site.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens often. Even like South Del Monte, I had my, let's say like, my assistant super. Marcelino, who goes by the nickname of Lino, amazing kid, right? Coming up the ranks. We started with Kaya at the same time. He started as a laborer. I started as a project manager. So, it was kind of like we both grow. Like we grew throughout those 3 years that we've been working together. So when we were at South Del Monte, I was like, look, I need you to step up. You're going to be the one that if, I can't be at every building, right? So it's like, I'm going to need you to help me that if we got something going on in that building, go make sure that it's happening. So, people started like seeing him out there too. So a lot of times you get the guys that show up, right, for their first job walk just to see what's going on. And immediately they go to talk to him, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, okay, I'm here to take care of this, and that. And then he would be like, well, you got to go talk to her, right? Like right now, yeah. Over there. Like immediately their attention would go to him, right? Mm-hmm. And then he's like, well, she's the boss, man. Like, she's the one with the plan, so go talk to her. So, yeah, I do come across that often. I don't take it personal. I understand. It's a male-dominant industry, so I'm not going to get offended by that. I also realize that for me, I'm always having to prove myself. I mean, I'm at a point, I think, where I don't always have to prove myself because I think I also, like, my confidence kind of just comes out when I walk into a room, a conference, a meeting, right, and I talk about what I'm doing. But no matter what, it's always like, there's always going to be those individuals that, look at you and they're like, yeah, girl, I don't know. I don't know how she handles her stuff. Why? I mean, and this is not to take away from no other female, but sometimes intimidation does get to women, right? And then they back down. So think about that man that's trying to accomplish something. He's like, do I really want to run the risk that if I don't have a strong woman next to me, she might back down, my deal might fall through, my work, somehow it's going to fuck me up, right? So I understand. So that's where I'm like, well, no, let me prove to you that I'm here for it, right? And that I'm going to be your partner. So then, yeah, it's a constant...
I think being underestimated is a superpower.
But she has amazing presence because we met initially in the field, and the field is completely different from headquarters, right? HQ, corporate. So, but then when she invited us over to the office, you could tell all of them were afraid of her. And I was like, hell yeah, that's
afraid or just respect.
Well, she was well respected. She had presence, and people knew. You could immediately tell she was respected because of her presence. And it was amazing to see someone that, from work boots to like corporate, well dressed like she is today, and still carry that same energy on and off the field in the corporate environment. And that's why, I've seen a lot of people with street smarts come up that way. And they do become that person, that double-edged sword, that dual threat because...
It's because they've been through so much worse shit that it doesn't scare them. It's like a phone call.
Oh, yeah.
That's a... Yeah, it's like a walk in the
park.
And
it's funny you say that because I always tell people,
yeah.
Do you realize where I grew up? Like, it was South Central. There was drive-bys. There was all kinds of shit going on, right? It's like there was times that my cars would get shot up when they were parked outside. You'd be hanging out, and it's like you see a car that didn't look like the usual vehicle around there, and you're like, all right, let's watch out because something may go down. So you're going to tell me that your little fucked up email is going to scare me? I mean,
exactly, right?
Like, I've dodged bullets before, my guy. It's like, this is nothing, so let's do it. But yeah, I mean, one of the things, and I try to promote this to everyone, right? It's like, be a shapeshifter. you're out in the field, carry yourself as a field worker, right? Carry yourself as the field guys. I don't want to go out there being all vestidita, because then it's going to make them like, who's this broad? Compared to if I'm with my jeans, my measuring tape, my boots, right? My vest, and it's like, hey, what's going on? Check it out. Like, let me, talk to me. Show me what it is that you're doing, right? And then you crack a few jokes. You show them that you come from where they come from, and they can relate with you. Oh man, it means a lot. Yeah, it's a lot, right?
Work environment.
But then it's like you go to the office, right, and you have those meetings. All right, well, let me ponme todo pipiris nice.
That's right. That's right.
Shit, let me fucking brush my hair. I mean, and then carry yourself with professionally, and then also like
and
read
as
the
a
room.
Beautiful woman that you are, me vengo. What did you say? What did you say?
Pipiris
Yes,
nice.
that's right. That's right. Because shit, when we want to be, when it's time to be a woman, watch me.
Well, I want to
and when
touch back.
it's time for me to be a project manager, watch me.
Yeah, I want to go back into your children, because there's a lot of single moms.
Yeah.
And as a single mom, you had that amazing father that helped you out. But there's a lot of single moms who don't have that. They're struggling. As a single mom, what advice would you give to yourself at age 22?
I would give myself like those moments where I was broken, when I was struggling, right? Those nights that I probably cried myself to sleep, I would just tell myself, like, it's going to be okay. You're going to make it out,
You got what it takes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Because obviously, to me, I'm glad where I'm at, but I didn't see it at that time, right? And I mean, there was a couple people that would tell me, like, you're going to be okay. Adult individuals that I work with, right? That maybe they saw it, but I didn't, right? I didn't see that in me. I was stuck in the mindset of like, I am a single mom. I have nothing to offer. I didn't even finish high school. And you yourself start kind of tearing yourself down.
The negative talk,
right?
sure, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I would probably tell myself, don't do that. Don't be easy on yourself. Trust that you have it in you to fucking get through this. Yeah.
And Rocio's right. There's a lot of women out there who don't have the guidance or that extra oomph, and they don't make it.
And it's sad because there's so much other options, especially in construction. And I always think about like, what can we do? How can we go into the schools or somehow, get the message to the young girls? Because even a dad would probably not encourage his daughter to get into construction, but it's like, especially with our stories, like, man, construction is great. You can go from an empty lot to something that gets built, that you're like, yeah, I worked on that project. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the physical part, because that is the difference between men and women. Men are stronger, but when you compare our minds being multitasking creatures that have the children, that wash the clothes, that the way we're we were
there's
built.
a significant difference, because
put us into the workplace, we can multitask.
No, it's a proven difference, and I'm not throwing anyone under the bus, but the way Marisol, for example, when I give her a task, I know it's going to get done.
Yeah, single moms actually have a higher statistics, or moms, and especially single moms have a higher statistic of sticking it out, because they love their children and they know like there's no way out. Like they have two mouths to feed, and it's just I've seen that. I've experienced. I have friends like that.
Well, another thing is too, it's like they don't know how to give up. It's just I remember back in the days, right, going to a laundromat to do laundry. And I'm there fucking, doing all these like big old loads of laundry. And I had my kids, they were little. Joseph must have been about maybe like 6, Victoria maybe like 2. And this guy, he's like, man, you have a lot, because it was like all the blankets, everything, right? And he's like, you have a lot of clothing. He's like, probably when you get home, like, your husband's probably going to help you. And I was like, when you're like, what? And I was like, I'm not married. And he's like, man, then that's a lot of work for you. Well, I had never realized that. I didn't know any better. That was my life.
It's
like working every day, taking care of my kids, making sure that I was there for them at school, taking care of everything that the house, my apartment at that time needed, right? Laundry, food. I didn't know any better. So I was like, really? Like there's an easier, like I thought that was easy, right? Like I didn't know any easier than that. So I think a lot of times for single moms, people look down on them thinking, yeah, I don't know, she might be flaky. But it's like, if you think about everything that they've already endured, like they're going to fucking make it happen. If you get the one that wants to do better, she's going to do everything in her power to make sure that she makes it happen. She's not there waiting for someone
Somebody
else,
to
a partner, to
serve
fucking
her.
take care of
Yeah.
her. She's going to take care of herself.
And I could probably relate to your children because my mom had me at 16.
Oh, she was young.
So, yeah, you know, because there's a dynamic. I'm not sure how your children were, how you were with your children when you were at 22. But my mom went through the same phase between ages 22 to 25. She had a party phase. And it was kind of just, because for me, it was just like, I was like the child being like the parent, and just trying to like see like, why are you doing that? You know, if I didn't understand, like, because I was a kid. But seeing the change, you know, as you mature, it's beautiful.
Yeah, you grow with your kids. I mean, for me, I'm going to say it was mostly with Joseph, my firstborn, who's 20 now. But yeah, definitely. I mean, was I ready to be a mother? Or a single mother? No, I wasn't. I thought I was ready to get married, right? And maybe if it would have worked out that way, I think I was, you know, I could have settled and done it. But because it didn't work out that way, and then I ended up as a single mom, and then my brother passing, and the way I dealt with that pain, I did lose like a little bit of control for a little while. And I do feel like eventually, you know, when Victoria came around, it's like I grew with them. As they were growing, I was maturing. I was becoming, and I knew I wanted to be something better. I remember when Victoria was about to turn a year old, I would pray and I would ask, please, God, I want to be better than this. I want to be more than this. I want to be something that my children admire, you know, someone that my children admire.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And you know, again, everyone has different beliefs, but I do believe that there's a higher power out there. And if you put it out there, you put that energy out there, it will come back.
For sure.
And I'm grateful that, you know, it did come back, you know, and eventually, you know, it's like I got in the industry. I met my husband in the industry in that first project. He was one of those white boys in there, right? He was a project engineer.
Your first project, huh?
Yeah. And she sees white because if you look, he is a total.
He's
total
a white guy, loves to fish, hockey player, right? He's, you know, from the East Coast. Amazing.
Super cool dude.
Yeah, amazing. I
met
am very
him.
fortunate. But it's just funny because I wasn't into, let's say, you know, that type of man. I mean, I was used to my Mexicanos, you know, my raza, my guys, you know, banda y corridos and all of that. So then, you know, I meet my husband. And at first it was just like, oh, you know, Fridays after work, after after a full week of hard work, the team would get together and go to the bar. And then, you know, he was going through some stuff. I remember that. To me, I like to help people. Anything that I could do to extend, because I remember when people gave me some help, what that meant to me. So if I'm able to help others, if they're going through something, I'm gonna be there for them. So I remember he was going through something. He was trying to figure out life, and I'm like, well, you know, you don't have to be alone while you're doing it. Again, you know, he didn't grow up in nowhere near a hood. But Krystal, you know, I'd be like, well, if you don't want to be alone this weekend, I'm gonna have a backyard boogie. You want to come through? You know, it's like
backyard boogie.
come by, right? And yeah, it was funny because he would show up, right? And I mean, I when I say I grew up in a hood, you guys, I grew up in a neighborhood with gangsters, right? That was my neighbor. Those were my cousins. Those were my neighbors, right? And he would come by and just hang out right there, right? So everybody's like, man, this white boy's cool, right?
Yeah,
he must really be feeling you, Krystal.
Shout out to the white boy in the hood.
Yes. But it's just funny because I didn't even see it like that. I just thought, you know, he doesn't have family here. He's not from this side of town, right? He's on his own. He's just, you know, he just wants company. You know,
Wanted your company.
Krystal was like, "Ooh," you know, like
But you know, for him too, because I'm sure it was a little scary for him to come to the hood.
No, I think he was sitting there. I feel like he was He's like,
I mean, I think so.
He's
because
like this spicy mama.
Yeah, you know, eventually he's like, well, you married me, so I was like, you must like
well,
it,
you
right?
kept coming, so I married you.
But no,
I need to add some spice to my chicken.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not like I held back.
You know, the right woman will make you do some crazy
That's
shit.
right. You'll go into
Anyway, right?
You know what? Like they say, you'll climb high mountains.
Yeah.
You'll swim across rivers.
No,
What you mean? I gotta fight this Viking? Fuck this fool.
Yes, and I mean there were situations like that where my homies would try to press him just to see, right? And he wouldn't back down, and I'd be like, damn, look at him, right? Like shit, all right, cool, but. I mean, one of the biggest things for me is he needs to know who I am and where I come from. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to fake it. I mean, this is who I am. I grew up in this neighborhood. There's no changing that, and I don't want it. I don't want to change that. That is who I am, and I love it to this day. I will always tell everybody where I come from. It's part of who I am. But yeah, no, he would come through, and then little by little, so my kids, they would play sports. And I remember this was the one time that I was like, he must really not like me like as a female, but he must really like my friendship. I was still oblivious that he was into me, right? But well, it's because to me. No, I'm gonna say this. This goes back to how I felt about me, right? Obviously, my confidence at that time wasn't there. I was an admin at his job site, right? I didn't go to school. I was a single mom.
Was it maybe you were trying to protect your heart?
I think it was just like because I thought, I'm just going to stay single, taking care of my kids. Another thing was like, I'd see him and he was educated. He was smart. He just got shit done. I was like so impressed by the way he would carry himself. All the field guys would go and talk to him.
You felt like maybe you weren't good enough at that
something
moment?
Like that, right? Because
how old were you, Krystal?
I was 23 at that time.
Oh, super young.
Yeah, I was young, right? But that's what I'm saying. It's like I was building myself up. But at that time, I mean, think about it. I had just came out of like a broken relationship, single mom of 2 kids, struggling in the hood to make ends meet. And then I go work here and you see other people that have their life together. They're like, they have their own place. They have their nice cars. And here I was with my little churro Pepita that was breaking down every time I stopped at a light, right? Busted up window. Like, different
I had one
things.
of those. I had a little red car that had all the stains.
Right?
An Ultima.
No, that Ultima was the level up. A Corolla, it's falling apart.
But, again, and then you see him, with his nice little BMW, his cool glass. I mean, I was like, I can't imagine that a guy like that would be into someone like me, right? It's like I knew he was going to do well for himself. And I was like, I don't know. Whatever. I didn't even think about it that he was into me. Yeah. But one day, he tells me, hey, I don't have anything going on. I was like, well, Joseph has practice if you want to show up. And after that practice, we went to Gage Ball. Do you guys know where Gage Ball is? Lawson and Gage, right? In Huntington Park. Yep. Huntington Park being pretty much a all Latino neighborhood, right? And we end up at Gage Ball after, he ends up treating like, pizza. We hang out there. Then the next week comes around and he's like, hey, I'll go with you to the kids' practice. I was like, all right, cool. But he doesn't make it in time to pick me up. So then I was like, well, whatever. He didn't want to go. And I end up, I get in my car, we go. And then as I'm sitting there, and my dad had showed up too, like after his work, he went and we're watching Joseph play. I'm there taking care of my little baby girl, and all of a sudden I see this little car, this little BMW driving around. I'm like, what the fuck? Is that his car? And I was like, all right, that looks like his car. But again, I was like, yeah, maybe not. Mm-hmm. And then, all of a sudden he says, like, this white guy, light blonde hair, his little cool shades, cutting across. And again, at that time, I feel like gentrification has happened now. But at that time, you didn't see white folks on HP, right? So everyone's like, looking, like, where the fuck is this guy going, right? Yeah. And he comes up to me. And I said, how'd you find the place? He's like, well, I went into my Amex transactions and searched up Gage Ball. He's like, I saw what the place was called. So he searched up Gage Ball. He knew that Gage Ball was a block away from the park. So as soon as he got to Gage Ball, he knew, I'm going to just go right and I'll find the park. Yeah. So he found us.
Damn, A for
And
F.
that's when I was like,
what's his name?
Mark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's when I was like,
shout out to Mark.
He's like, I got to close this deal, man.
That was when I was like, all right. But again, it still didn't quite hit me. He was the one that kept telling me, you need to expand your horizon. Like, you don't need to just be here and these, like, you should go out, travel, do other stuff. So he's like, have you ever been to Santa Barbara wine tasting? No, because I was used to 40s right there in the hood, right? It's like the liquor store. 40s. Yes, right? Like, Fort Locos,
sunflower seeds and now later.
No, hot Cheetos. Don't get hot Cheetos. Hot Cheetos. So we go to Santa Barbara, right? We go wine tasting, and I get fucking hammered the first night, right? Because I'm over here thinking it's like regular. Yeah, so I'm over here chugging, this wine. And man, I get tore up, but not in a good way. I get sick. My stomach was hurting. I'm just like, you know what? Forget it. And I'm telling him, go out. You're like a friendly person. You'll make friends out here. Like, he was very social, right? And I'm thinking, damn, I just ruined our weekend. Like, he probably wanted to come party, and here I am, And no, he's like, no, it's fine. We'll just, we'll just hang out. And then the next day we get up, and he's like, well, do you want to go get brunch? And you could take it slower on the wine. And as, we're at this
Take
restaurant.
it slower on the wine.
Yeah. He's like, maybe do sips, right? Instead of fucking chugging
It's
it.
called wine tasting.
Yes. Not chugging, right? So again, but I mean, he needed to see who Krystal was, right? So whatever. We were there sitting down at this restaurant, and it's crazy how it happened, because this was, to me, a magical moment. As I'm sitting there, he's sitting he's standing in front of me, right? And we're just talking, and I'm thinking, man, God, can you please bless me with a man like this? He's educated, he's smart, he's gentle, he's caring, just a nice guy. And then all of a sudden, Mark just looks at me and goes for it and gives me a kiss.
Oh, God was probably like, Mensa.
Yes, well, that's exactly right. In my mind, I'm thinking, you dumb bitch, he's right here in front of me this whole time, right? And that was it. Ever since that weekend, we haven't been apart.
Wow.
It's obviously ups and downs, right? But that was the weekend that was like, oh, I guess I'm your girl.
Yeah. How many years ago was that?
13.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 13
What
years.
a beautiful story.
Yeah,
some people come into your life to make it better.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter where you stand. If you think you're a level down or 5 levels down, and the opposite person's 5 levels up, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Or you're complete opposites. But if you love each other, and if it's there, then
Yes.
you become better.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. And if you can't recognize
because
that.
the other person balances each other out. So
Right.
it's like there's
Exactly.
you see yourself, the other person sees something that they want you, and you respect and admire the other person's qualities too.
And Mark seems like that type, that type that's gonna, if you're not on his level, he's gonna make sure you get there.
Yeah, he is very well, and that's his role within his company, is seeing the strengths of other individuals, right? And then areas where they could improve, and then he places them within teams where he knows that one individual is going to continue to grow, right? Yeah. When I met him, that wasn't his role. That he was a project engineer pushing work out in the field, but yes, he definitely has been my biggest supporter that contributed to my growth in this industry, because I was wired to think I'm just going to be an admin. And as long as I just have a job where I'm making enough to keep my rent, to keep my apartment, and I'm able to put food on the table for the kids, that's
those
more
were
than
my
enough.
goals.
Yeah,
those were my goals at the time.
That's more than enough, right? And I remember when I went to go look for another job, he's like, well, let me check out your resume, right? And obviously my resume was geared to another admin job. And he's like, no, we're going to rewrite this because you were doing this, you were doing that, and he set me up to go more into a project engineer role. And he's like, and wherever you go, he's like, this is what you should get. Don't go for, your minimum wage, $12 an hour, keep going. Mm-hmm. So then, it's like, having him by my side, and every time and any time that I doubt myself, that I'm like, I don't know if I could do this, he's always there like, you're fucking you, Krystal. Like, you could do this. If you've done everything else before, this is nothing for you, right? Yeah. But obviously, with years of being in the industry, I no longer feel that way as often as I did when he met me. When he met me, I didn't have the confidence. Even carrying myself. You know how you're saying now, you walk in and people respect. Obviously, I didn't have that. I was just trying to learn, right? So I was growing, but he was there to help me grow. So I really do appreciate him for that.
That's why everybody needs güeritos in their life. Because, just having one white friend boosts your credit score like 10 points. It's a proven fact. It's a proven fact.
I don't think I have any güeritos in my life.
Sam, güerita. It doesn't have to be a güerito. It could be a güerita.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I could
Sam
use some
is my
güeritas in my
güerita,
life.
yes.
Yeah.
So, Krystal, you mentioned God twice, that you said you prayed, God, I want to be something better for my children, and it's so true when they say, when we ask God for something and it's aligned with his will for us, because he knows what we need and he knows, that we deserve, to be happy. It's just a testimony how he answered your prayer. And then you mentioned, God, let me have a man like this, he's this, he's that. And that's how fast God answered you. Like, boom, you got a kiss like in the next second. And it almost brings chills to me, because that's the way he works. And he sees us the best, like the best part of us, even though we sometimes don't see it ourselves.
Yeah, you're right.
And I have, I guess, a similar feeling or story where, my husband fell in love with me when I was an addict. I was a crack addict, and just a good person, but an addict, and but somehow, because even his family or even me, like, how could you like me? I'm a fucking mess, dude. Even though I was like you said, you had your dad who pushed you and said, hey, no, you can do this. My mom too, single mom, was like a sergeant. Like, no, you're gonna do good at anything. I don't care if you're sweeping the floor. I don't care what you're doing. You're gonna do it right. You're gonna do it the best that you can be. And that alone, that wisdom alone, as you grow up, and no matter where you're at, you're doing your best. You can only go up. But when, like they say, when we ask the Lord to bring, that friend or that power that we don't have, it's like, look at where we get to. Because we're all from the hood here, and it's like that song, started from the bottom. Now we're here.
And you have to surrender it, right? That's the constant that I keep hearing, that I keep seeing when great things like that happen. It's with people who really believe, who are at their lowest point, and who turn it over and say, you know what, I can't do this shit. Help me.
Yeah. Help me. Yeah. Align me. Yeah.
Because if you're not, and if you're still thinking the ghetto pendeja way, and
that's
you're
how we know,
and you're
right?
only,
It's really hard to.
And you're only
see
50%
beyond
in.
that.
Well, then you ain't gonna get what you want. But if you say, hey, this, I'm ready. Give me something, and he's gonna give you something. He's gonna show you.
Yeah. So, Krystal, is your favorite project the first one, since that's where you met your husband, or is there a project that comes to you like that? This was.
So there's a few projects that I'm gonna say are important in my career here. But yes, I will say the Bob Hope Patriotic Hall, which was a beautiful historical renovation. I learned a lot there. That's where I met my husband, and that's where he proposed.
Aww.
He
What's it
proposed to
called?
me
At the job site?
What was that?
No, like years after, right?
Oh, okay.
When we were together, we took a drive out there and right in front of the steps. I just thought that was a beautiful building, and they would rent it out. Before, they used to rent it out for parties. So I would always tell them, when we get married, we're gonna get married in there. So since that wasn't the case anymore, because it wasn't a venue anymore, we end up driving to downtown LA. We go check it out, and he's just telling the kids, like, yeah, we're just gonna go look at the project that your mom and I, met. And he got on one knee and proposed in front of the steps there. So yes, Bob Hope, I will say, is like my favorite project, because every time I see it off of the tent, I'm like, look, that's Bob Hope. And the kids are always like, we know, you tell us every time. But again, to me, it was because it was a life-changing experience. That building right there, right? I got into the construction industry, which, I mean, it's a big part of my life. I live and breathe construction. I met my husband. I built the home from there. I've built the career from there. So yes, that building does stand for a lot to me, right? But then there's other projects too that were big. They contribute a lot to my growth. LAPD. The LAPD Police Academy, it was also a historical renovation, and then they built the new training facility right next door. And that was another one where I felt like I grew a lot. It was a really, good project. South Del Monte High School was another one, because at LAPD I had a team. So I was able to feed off of a lot of people, right? I learned a lot because they had a really good team in that project. So I, picked their brains and I grew. South Del Monte was just me on my own. When I joined Kaya, we had just started the general construction division. They had been doing construction for a while, but it was under these like CMAS contracts. So it's a little different. Like, you don't really have to have a manager in there or superintendent or anything like that. It's not by specs or drawings. It's just, this facility wants to upgrade this room, ceiling tiles and carpets and paint. Kind of fairly easy construction, right? So they were doing really good there, but they decided to go and open the branch of general construction, going after hard bid projects with specs and drawings. But because it was a new concept, they only had Armando and they had the estimator. And then Armando calls me one day and says, hey, want to join the team? This is going to be your project. And I'm like, holy fuck. I've always had a team, right? And I've always had someone that I could go and be like, hey, PM, what do I do here, right? Or senior PM, how can, a superintendent, the work out here. But South Del Monte being a 2-year project. And, some people came to help out, but they're only there for like a little while, a couple months, and then they would take off. I was there since the start. So even like like the field coordination, right? The dealing with the other prime contractors, right? Coordinating work with them. We had this pipe grid system for the theatrical equipment that I mean, I've never even dealt with that before, right? That I had to get really familiar with. So that project pushed me to put myself out there and be like, fuck it, I've always had that mentality, but that one there, I didn't have anyone else to pick their brain within my team, right? Because it was only 3 of us. Armando's in the office, overseeing operations. The estimator's over there trying to get another project. And then here's Krystal pushing the work out in the field, right? And it's like, how do I make sure that I deliver a successful project to my company? So I'd stay up like really late sometimes, working till like midnight, right? Trying to understand stuff, reading through it, calling individuals that I've met in the past. Hey, what about this? Like, what kind of, what can you give me? Give me some knowledge, right? And then putting all of those little pieces together to continue to push the work. So that project there was definitely it's the number one project where I learned
Took
a
you
lot.
out of your comfort zone.
Fuck yeah. There was no choice.
And that's where you learn and that's where you grow.
Yeah, get in the trench and fucking continue, right? And definitely has been one of the projects that built my confidence even more, right? Because again, before joining Kaya, I took some time off because of COVID. And we'll talk about, like, how you're saying it's a male-dominant industry. How did you feel walking in there? I'm going to say 90% of the time, once you kind of prove yourself and you show them that you're a hustler and you're there to get work going, most males, they'll be like, yeah, you know what? All right, she's cool. She's one of us. We'll continue. But then you do get that 10% of fucking assholes. It doesn't matter how much you prove yourself to them. You're a woman. You're young. You're never going to be part of their team, right? And again, depending on where you are with your confidence level of what you know in the industry, sometimes that could tear you apart. So right before COVID, I had an incident where it kind of tore me apart. And I was just like, I don't even know if this is the industry. I don't see growth. I don't see like it's happening. And I ended up leaving my previous company. And then the week after, they announced the COVID shutdown. So everyone was like, you should just stay. But I was like, but if I stay, I'm just going to continue doing the shit that I'm doing. And I want more. So I was like, you know what? I'll just take some time off to be at home with the kids. I didn't realize that fucking time off was going to be 2 years, right? But thank God it worked out. My husband continued to work. We were fine. It was okay. So I got really invested at being at home, being a mom, being, a wife, taking care of the house. I enjoyed it very much, right? But then one day I get a call from Armando and he's like, hey, are you fucking done being a stay-at-home mom? Are you ready to come to work? And I really... Ya
estuvo con ese pedo with the stay-at-home mom.
Yeah. But I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm so invested now in what I'm doing at home, and we've been okay financially. My husband's been able to keep up with everything. You know what? Do I really want to let go of how, like, connected I am right now to my family? So then he's like, well, just come through for a lunch. One of those fucking lunches, those Thursday lunches. They have these, it's really nice.
What's a Thursday lunch like?
Yeah, I got to take you. I got to take you, man.
In.
The company, our owner caters a lunch every Thursday. And anyone that wants to go visit, they could, because our main office is a showroom to all the work that we could perform.
Is that where we met? You and I met?
Yeah, that's where we met, exactly, for one of those events, right? So the thing is that Armando's like, come through. And I was like, you know what? I haven't mingled. Like, for 2 years, I've been at home just with kids, watching fucking Coco Melon and Baby Shark, right? So it's kind of like, maybe it's time for me to go and have, like, an adult
time.
Yes, exactly, right? And out at the job site, the way you chop it up, there's always, like, the joking, the clowning, and everything. So I was like, I kind of do need it. So I end up going, and I meet him, and I meet Rick Willison, who was the project executive at that time. And we're just sitting there chopping it up, clowning, and at the end, it's like, well, are you ready to come back to work? And I'm like, here I go with my fake it till you make it, right? I was like, yeah, I'm ready. I didn't think they were going to go and fucking prepare a offer letter for me, right? So I'm just like, whatever. I drive away. I'm like, free lunch. I got to see my boy Armando. I got to meet someone else that's cool, All right, cool. Well, all of a sudden, Armando sends me a text, check your email. And I got an offer letter. And I'm like, holy shit. That. No. But you guys, like I got cold feet. I didn't fucking reply to him. I was like, shit. Well, again, because you start self-doubt will fuck you up, right?
Self-doubting, yeah.
And again, I was really invested on my home life. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, I don't know. And all of a sudden, I had 2 weeks go by, and Armando's like, hey, what the fuck? What's going on? He's like, are you not happy with the offer? Well, he revised the offer, sends me a new offer, right? More money. And I'm like, holy fuck. He thought that I didn't go for the first one because of the price tag, but it wasn't that.
Well played.
Yeah,
Well played. Well played.
yeah. But I mean, no, that wasn't even the plan. That's what's funny, because even with the first offer, I was like, damn, that's some money right there, right? But then he like, went and he's like, I'm gonna take care of you. And my husband, here comes my husband into the picture, where he's like, look, Krystal, you have nothing to lose. Don't doubt yourself. And if you don't make it, fuck it. You didn't lose anything. You didn't leave another good employer. You weren't working. So just do it, right? See, again, it's your decision. I'm here to support you, but go for it. So I did. And here I am 3 years later, right? It's like when I started, there's no one else in the field. It was just me. And then now we're about 18 people deep in our general construction division. So it's really nice to see like the hard work, my contribution, like where we are now, the way we've grown. We started off with a project of $1 million. And now with all the projects combined, we're at over $100 million.
Wow,
in 3 years. Yeah. So trust me when I say it, it's like to think that it's like I've contributed to that. And everyone else that's there too, right? But it's like just to know that my little, pedacito has gotten us to something else. I want to continue to see where that goes. And it's like I said, it's like I was doubting myself, but by the support of others, because it's not just been my husband who's been there. Armando's been a big support for me too. I mean, I love the fact that this guy, I worked with him many years ago. Then he takes off when I was on maternity leave from having my little one. And, I would hear from his sister also worked for that company. So I would ask her, hey, how's your brother? Her name's Rocio, as a matter of fact. And I was like, hey, Rocio, how's your brother? Oh, he's good. He's somewhere else, whatever. Never thought I was going to see him or hear from him again. So it's funny to think that one day I just get a fucking call from this guy. And throughout these years, he's like, yeah, I've always thought about what a hard worker you were. And I know that this would be a great opportunity for you. So it's like, it's so important to make those connections, the networking, and like actual like legitimate networking, not the fake bullshit. Like I said, oh, here's a donut, call me. No. Like the actual connections, and then being there for others when they need your help, because they will remember you. And this is exactly what happened to me. Armando remembered me, and here I am, right? And I've met other people now that I've been at Kaya for the 3 years that I know that in the future, same thing, right? If something goes, let's say, I hope not, but let's say I don't end up at Kaya. I know I could call other individuals and be like, hey, man, what do you got? And they're going to like, come through. Yeah. I got you, right? Because I saw what you did there. I know what you could do over here. So, yeah, important connections, the connections.
There truly are people that have your best interest in heart, that with no expectation whatsoever. You call them, they're going to be there. Those are the people you got to guard. Those are the people you have to take care of.
There's no benefit behind it.
No benefit, no expectations. And I think all of us here today are those type of people. I feel like I could, especially now, I feel like I could call you guys for advice, whether it be work advice, relationship advice, but the most important advice, or if I had to roll up on someone and I needed some, we're gonna throw some hands, I could call you for that too. Yeah,
yeah. And you fucking, what is it? You stab and you turn. You fucking stab and turn. That's how you cause some damage.
Yeah. No, man. It's an amazing story, and that's I love it. I just knew today we were gonna walk away with something great. And a feel good story, but not only that, but I think everything we touched on is going to help single moms that are currently in your position that you were, that person that you would go back and talk to. I think there's a lot of valuable information that came out of this today for people that truly need to hear it.
So, Krystal, were you ever actual hands-on building?
So, South del Monte, I'm not going to say that I was there building, but if I was able to get my hands on a power tool and be like, all right, you're removing some electrical outlets, let me give it a shot, right? Because I like to understand what it is that the guys are doing. Am I going to say I'm out there welding? Fuck no, I'm not certified for anything like that, right? Am I doing electrical work? No, I don't think so.
I just didn't know if you maybe had a favorite tool, like, oh yeah, let me do that. With a saw or with a, I don't know, what tools are there?
No, but it's funny to think that it's like, I see how excited my husband gets over his Milwaukee tools, right?
Yeah, like toys.
Yes, right? Every time we go to Home Depot, it's like I need this, I need that. And it's like, go for it, treat yourself. But I didn't have that love for tools until this project South del Monte, right? Because since I was the only one there, again, I got hired. Usually a project manager role is more of the finances, right? Making sure the money is, that you're balancing the money and everything's coming in and, you're going to make some profit. But because I didn't have a superintendent, there was a period of time that I had certain individuals join the team, but it was only for a few months and then they'd be gone. I found myself out in the field in these foreman's meetings, right? Like it's all the guys and then here's Krystal, right? And there was times that I was in a trench, literally, like, there's fuck ups, obviously, no one's perfect, right? There was one time that the drawings called out to demo a fucking light pole, but didn't have any electrical upgrades. So the electrical connection was never done. So then they fucked up the daisy chain of the other light poles. So then at night, the lights wouldn't go off. And it was like, well, what's going on? By the time that we figured it out, they had already backfilled that opening. They had already put asphalt, right? So it's like, fuck, right? So it's like, well... I'm going to say it wasn't on my fuck up because I didn't have the electrical package on my bid package, but either way, it was something that was missed in the drawings, and it's like, okay, well, Krystal, since you have the demo guy, since you have the grader, what can you do to help out? So to keep costs low and, you look out for people because I didn't want the district to get screwed with additional money for something that should have been captured before. So it's like, let's just make sure, that we work together. So I was like, all right, and favors. Favors are a big thing, right? Because one day you're going to need something from me. And if, and not to say that I hold it like, oh, I did something for you. No. I'll do it without expecting anything in return. But usually when you help someone, they will always want to help you back, right? They're like, yeah, I got your back. So one day we tear that up and I have my guy Lino, who was like a laborer, right, out there digging. And I'm in there fucking with my nails and everything fucking digging, trying to find this stupid fucking electrical connection, right? And finally we find it, right? But I came out of there all fucking dirty. And like people are driving by, they're like, aren't you the project manager? Like, aren't you supposed to be in the office? And my mind is like, no, there's no such thing as I'm just doing this.
Yeah, you have a problem to fix.
It's like, this is my project, so whatever it takes for me to get it done.
Nails and all.
Fuck yeah. I got home, I had to like scrub my nails, take all that dirt out of it. But I was like, oh, we found it. It's right here, right? And we got through it.
You mentioned the word tool. The schedule is a fucking huge ass tool to manage because schedule will keep you on budget or off budget. Schedule is like the pressure because I know when there's delays, because I have my clients or contractors and there's time, material, delays, someone fucks up, now you have to bring in, now it's like, oh, well, you can't do that stuff because I have the plumber here and I have, all this thing going on and of course you have to go back to the owner to go up there, ask them for money, like, oh, by the way, we kind of missed this, and there's a whole dispute because they're going, F no, I'm not paying that. Well, then the subcontractor goes, F you, I'm not going there because you ain't going to pay me. Well, then, okay, I need to get the sign. I'm not signing this. So, like, the schedule is just, like,
it's a big one, too. Yeah, it's a big one. So, it's like, I take it for that one, the importance of communication, coordination, discussions with everyone involved. Nowadays, I've come to realize that a lot of people are afraid to have conversations. It's like, or pick up the phone and make a phone call. A lot of people come off very fucking strong. Like they'll call all the time. You need to be here. And it's like, why, man? Like, understand that everybody else also has other projects. They got all kinds of stuff going on. So it's better to approach it like, hey, man, how's it going? We got this issue over here. What can we do to get better? What can we do to fix this, right? And it's like, all right, well, maybe I might not be able to help you out this week, but you know what? I'll look out for you next week. Oh, all right, thank you. And then communication. Do I know it all? Fuck no, right? But this is where I depend on the people that have the knowledge. So if I need to have a coordination meeting with, let's say, the grader and the concrete guy and the guy doing the rebar, it's like, come on, let's all, I'll get you guys a coffee. Let's sit down and let's just talk. And then don't be afraid to ask questions. Because the one fucking thing I realized, man, everybody's so goddamn prideful of like if they don't know, they want to pretend like they know. And it's like, that's what's going to fuck you up. Because if you didn't ask those questions, you could have identified a potential issue, right? Yep. So to me, it's like, no, I'm going to say, hey, Rocio, so I don't know anything about insurance. You're the expert in it. Why wouldn't I come to you and be like, can you guide me through this, and help me out? For the most part, people will come back like, yeah, of course. Yeah. Hardly ever is someone going to turn back around and say, what do you mean you don't know this, right? To try to make you feel stupid. Most people are like, yeah, I get it. With you, trash business, I didn't know shit about lead. Remember when I called you about lead and I said, hey, can you help me out with this one? I really don't know.
I've had to write you do 2 WMPs already, which I could have said, that's your responsibility, homie.
But you're a giver.
But I'm like,
but you're a giver
it's
and
my
a
homie.
Team player.
It's my homie. So, and even Lashes reached out. Can you write me a WMP?
Yeah,
but I wrote one for Krystal not too long ago.
But again, because we don't know this, right? Am I gonna know everything? No, but it's like, hey, talk to me about it. Let me know what is that, right? Safety. Fuck, I mean, I know, I have an understanding of it, but do I know OSHA, rules and all kinds of stuff? Hell no, I'm gonna depend on the person that knows that, right?
And Dan Urbina,
yes,
by the way.
Yes, Dan. Yeah. So the thing is, it's like I see it often that you get very prideful individuals, that just don't want to ask the questions because they don't want other people to think that they don't know. Yeah. And it's like, but I don't know. I think that's the downfall for others, right? But coordination meetings, communication, that phone, fucking pick it up, call.
Pick it up. Yeah, that was all really, really great advice because you're right. Construction is all communication because you have all the trades. So if the trades aren't coordinating and talking, oh my God, I can't even imagine. And my favorite one is ask questions. Somebody would have asked those questions. You wouldn't have been with what you just said about the, not knowing the electrical was there and all of that. So that's all really, really great advice coming from the best PM I ever met.
Well, it's an emerging leader. All those qualities are leadership qualities.
Yes.
All of them.
Yes. And we need more leaders. And we need more women leaders. A lot more. Yeah. Well, Krystal, thank you so much for coming. You're my new friend.
Thank you for having me.
You're very inspirational.
Extremely. I didn't know all this about you. I just thought you were Krystal. Just this morning, she's like, I'm on my way, food. What are you doing? And I told her what I was doing, my extracurricular activities last night. And
oh, that's right. That's right.
There's people wanting to get coffee and all this stuff. Nothing bad, of course.
How's that dating app going?
You know what? I was bored.
It's because I'm calling him and this fucking bing keeps going off. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And he's like, notifications.
It's a good Christian woman wanting to have coffee. And I was like,
I thought you were going to wait a year.
I am waiting a year. I'm not doing anything cochino. Like, I got friends. I'm allowed to have friends.
You're
said I can have friends.
Man. Let's go. All right.
Rocio said I can have homies. I have homies. Yeah. And I ain't going to let nobody hit this.
Okay. Oh.
Watch out. Liar. Hey, where's the fucking, what is it, los calzones con el lock and shit, Where they at?
Yeah. All right, guys. So that was the show. Thank you so much for listening to us. Now you guys know our incredible friend, Krystal. And our friends can be your friends. Come back and listen to us next week.
Thanks for listening to the Triangle Hustle podcast. If you like what you heard, please give us a follow, a like, and a share with anyone who might be interested in hustling with us. Leave us a comment. Let us know what other subjects you'd like the Triangle to cover. We'll see you next time.